welcome back to the Worldwide Hoopers podcast. This is episode 3. As you can see, we've got a nice little setup here. We're up at our gym, up at Yonova Sports Arena. We thought we'd change it up for episode 3. We thought we'd do something nice. We've got some people that want to help us out. Our boy Dave comes through and wants to help with the camera and the mic and the lighting and stuff. And we thought it'd be a good experience for you guys, something new to see. So if you have any feedback on this type of setup or whatever, just please let us know in the comments. But yeah, I mean, we're excited to be here. We're excited to get episode 3 done. Our last episode was talking about NBA and whatever, so go back and have a look at that if you can. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way. It helps our podcast. And then follow us on Instagram as well. We've got the tags up and down. But Jax, bro, how's life?
Man, can't complain. We were talking this week about, I can't remember which day it was. It was rainy and cold outside, and I feel like we were headed into our first practice for the day, and we were kind of like sluggish.
Yeah.
But after the day, we kind of just like, you have that aha moment every now and then where you're like, man, like, what are we complaining about? Like,
yeah.
We get to come here every day, and we're with a great team, a great group of guys, and we get to play basketball for a living. So,
yeah.
All things considered, it's a blessing.
And it's also like a great bunch of people to be around too. You know, we didn't ask anyone for help with our podcast. We were there just doing it at home with our phones and a mic, and people are always trying to ask and help and try and have different setups and all of that around here just in Yonova, and it's just that's awesome for us. That's something that we really appreciate. Like you said, man, I mean it's getting cold here. It's getting rainy and windy today, and last night was pretty miserable. It looks like it's getting a little sunnier now, but yeah, it's life's good, man. I mean, we played a game last night. Unfortunately, we lost, but being able to play basketball for a living and have a life like that, it's sick, man. We talk about it all the time that it's dope. But like sort of like the one thing about playing overseas, and a lot of people like my boy Nick who watches this, and a lot of our friends who are overseas, they understand this. You play basketball and you do your practices and stuff, and then there's not much else to do. And we've been talking about a lot. We've been on Netflix a lot. So like, you can talk about what. So we've watched Squid Games, obviously, like the rest of the world has. We actually watched Alice in Borderlands, and then we've both now started You. Like what?
Yeah, it was. I feel like all the shows came out at once.
Yeah.
Like when kind of fall is kind of upon us now, like hitting us. So, Squid Games obviously was like, everyone's seen Squid Games. It's
Everyone
like,
now.
Everybody's talking about it. It's pretty interesting, like to see like following different things on social media and how they add Squid Games into like their marketing and stuff like that. Because like I was a marketing and management major, so I think that's really cool to see how a show. Thanks, appreciate that.
That's good. Yeah, go.
You asshole. So, I mean, it's wild to see like how much the pop culture and just the social media aspect of a show can control like what's going on and kind of that's crazy to me.
Just with the NBA coming back, you see countless Squid Game stuff. Like it's just so wild. And for me, also, what's crazy is like Squid Games it's going to become Netflix's biggest show or like biggest non-English speaking show, and that's like that's a sort of different wavelength and different way. Like there's a lot of people that watch anime and things like that, and that's like a different type of niche. But for something like Squid Games to come in that's Korean, and obviously they did the English subtitles, but like it blew up worldwide, and that's crazy. There's another show like Money Heist is really good, but again, that's like a little niche of people that watch that. Mm-hmm. So for Squid Games to be such a reach with like that, like an Asian community and an Asian type of language to be so big in America, Europe, wherever, it's pretty dope. And that's where right after watching Squid Games, I stumbled across Alice in Borderlands, which is the same sort of idea. So if you guys haven't seen Alice in Borderlands, I'll put like the little title here and whatever on for Netflix. It's on Netflix. Like same type of idea, very like it's more based in Japan this time. Friends get sucked into it's like same type of mental game in Japan, so it's like that show was sick too.
Yeah, we talked about like I mean, I don't know if it's like technically like conspiracy or whatnot, but there's rumors that those shows are like they go hand in hand,
Yeah.
how they're linked together. So if that is true, that would be really cool. Me and you had been talking about, because we were both into the shows and specifically like the plot line and some of the Easter eggs that they've dropped. But if they are connected and there's gonna be some other show from a different country that is tied in, that would be really dope. So I hope that's the case, because I thought it was cool. What did you think about, like, overall, like, if you could rate out of 10 both of those shows, like, where would you put them?
For me, so Squid Games was good, like, really good, different type of idea and all of that. For me, at first though, I thought episodes 1 through 4, like obviously the end of episode 1. We're not going to try and spoil too much. If you haven't seen it, please go watch Squid Games. It's really good.
Right.
But there were times that it was really slow, and I remember watching it. Like, I watched it, I wouldn't say before all the hype, but it was before it really blew up to where it is now, you know. So me and my friend Mayo were watching it, like, not hand in hand, but, you know, episode for episode every few days. And we realized that, like, it was quite slow, and we were both very, like, I didn't want to tell you about it, and he didn't want to tell his friends about it if it was a flop. You know, when you watch a show and you're like, oh, this is good, but I don't know.
You gotta get to the certain point where you know you can, like, push it to other people. Yeah.
So it was an overall good show. Great the way they run it. Like, all these little mind things. Like, you can go through TikTok for hours and find conspiracy theories or different missed details that you probably missed while watching the show about different characters and stuff. So for that, I think it's a very well done TV show, and it was really good to watch. Like, I'd rate it 8 out of 10 probably. So Alice in Borderlands wasn't very slow at times, but it was just, for me, I thought it was a different type of vibe, but it was crazy all the same, you know. More games, I think, than what Squid Games had, and less of a like coming towards an end. It was sort of like this is what's happening, this is a climatic finish, but then it can keep going in seasons to come. So for that too, I mean, that's another like 7 or 8 out of 10 in my books. For you guys to go watch. The new season of You came out. I only watched, so Bethany and I watched, I think, up until episode 4. I'm gonna have a look. I think we watched up until episode 4 last night. Dude, that show it's one of those shows that you're just like, you don't necessarily want to watch it, but you have to.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really what it is, because it's like sometimes I'm watching it and I'm like mad at myself, like I can't believe I'm watching this right now.
We're halfway through episode 5.
Okay, yeah. So you're
we're
right.
Like halfway through the season.
I think we just finished 5, so me and my girl we're starting 6. So
dude,
I mean, I thought the first, like, the way they set it up was really good.
Yeah. It's just a different type of show.
Very intriguing. Me and you had talked about, like, I thought it was really cool that not, again, no spoilers or anything, like a minor detail, that they incorporate and talk about COVID-19 and how they don't just like gloss over it and pretend like it didn't happen. So it's very relevant in the time space that's going on, and I think that's
because the show took a big break. You know, they didn't record because of COVID, and they said, like, you know, 6 months later from the last recording. So that's, like you said, it's pretty cool that they keep it relevant. It's not just like a distant reality. You know, it feels real. It feels like it's something that's happening, you know, up the road, which is creepy and scary, but it's a good show.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that, like, you need to know how it ends type thing. So I find at least for me, like, I find myself getting through the seasons or the episodes because, like, I just want to know, like, the end result.
Yeah, that's
whereas
the thing.
Like, when I'm watching Squid Games, I was like, some of the times I'm like, damn, I don't want this episode to end because, like, the game was so cool, or like the idea or the plot line was so cool. It was like sometimes I didn't want it to get to the end. Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's the thing. It's more like you want to see what's next. Where it's like you want to see what's gonna happen to these people. Yeah, you know, you want to see what's gonna happen to the main character. Like, you know, at any moment in a show like that, like, the main character could just die. And you would have no idea, and you would have, like, you would just be like, oh my goodness, like, that's wild, you know? Yeah. And that's just one of those shows that's just like, whoa. But obviously, it's basically a national holiday 2 days ago. International holiday, I should say. NBA's back. Thankfully. Thankfully. And the first 3 days of the season, they haven't disappointed. No. We've got League Pass. We watch, so when we wake up in the mornings, we hide all the scores. I don't go on social media, and I watch the condensed games. And it's been legit so far.
Opening night, first game with New York and Boston couldn't have gone.
Oh my goodness.
Couldn't have gone any better for those of you who didn't watch. We had a double OT game.
Yeah, you have to go and watch that. That was a game.
In MSG. And I thought the craziest thing to me was Jaylen Brown's performance coming off of COVID. So Jaylen Brown was, I think,
He was in protocol for 10 days.
10 days.
And was out for a day and a half, maybe 2 days, I think, prior to playing in that game.
I think maybe had one practice.
One practice.
And then
played. Yeah.
And had 46.
46 points. I think he played like 40-something minutes too.
Yes.
So, like, dude, NBA is just it's a different breed. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, last year in Macedonia, I had COVID and I played like a day out of quarantine. I did that and I felt awful. Like, you feel bad, you can't breathe properly. Jaylen Brown had 46 and they played in double OT. Like, he played pretty much 48 minutes, something like that. Like, unbelievable type of stuff. And it's just crazy. And I mean, we spoke obviously in the last episode about like our sleeper teams, our best teams, our worst records. The Bulls have been really good in the preseason. I sort of like put it in the last. If you haven't seen the last one, I put it in the last one. After we spoke about it, the Bulls went undefeated. They only played Detroit in the first game, and they only snuck with 4. No, in the first game of the season.
Regular season. Yeah.
So they only snuck away with a 4-point win. They looked good, but like the Pistons had no one.
They won.
They won by 4.
They beat Detroit. Okay.
But Detroit have like. Just throw anyone on the team. They've got Jeremy Grant as well. But really, they don't have...
they don't have any big names.
They don't have any... Well, Cade Cunningham, but he didn't play. But it's just like...
rookie,
Yeah, so the Bulls could be good. Last night. We just woke up, end of day 3. Last night I woke up, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch Atlanta versus Dallas. Luka versus Trey. Game was a flop. Wasn't great. Then I went and started watching the highlights to the Golden State Clippers game, and Steph Curry went off.
Yeah.
Like, he in the first game against the Lakers, he had a triple-double, but he said he didn't play very well. And he came out and he started the game 10 for 10 on buckets.
One of the things that's super weird to me is Steph seems like, and don't get me wrong, like LeBron is my guy. Like we always, every year LeBron continues. I don't know if it's like surprise is the word, but people are surprised like, oh, he's in year 19.
He's still going.
He's still going. He still looks good. But like, I feel like Steph doesn't give that much credit about his longevity, and especially being a smaller guard for the league. I mean, he's 6'3", but he's a smaller guard in the league. He seems like he's getting better every year.
He just keeps building and building on his resume, and that's the thing. Like, he's just otherworldly, man, and Last night, there's a clip on Instagram that Paul George goes, let me get one from half court, like from the logo. And he's like, if you shoot one, I'll shoot one. So then the next play, Steph comes down and shoots it from the logo and hits it. And it's just like, dude, it's unbelievable the caliber of player that guy is. And it's just wild. And then we were talking on the way here. Miami our sort of team that we said would be like the sleeper team of the year. Miami played Milwaukee. Milwaukee won opening night, ring night, against the Nets. Come in against Miami, think it's going to be a really good game. Miami blew them out by 42.
Smacked them.
Miami beat them by 42. I've got the stats here. Because I woke up and I was like, this is unbelievable.
Hero went off.
Hero had 27, 6, and 5 on 10 for 17. So he spoke a lot in the summer saying like he should be respected to this level. And he came out and he showed them.
Yeah, they were giving him grief for that, but he's hooping right now.
So I watched that. I watched he'd done like a off-season stuff. And I really liked Tyler Hero. Last year he went down a little bit. They said he was out partying and doing whatever. But he's got a baby on the way. And dude, I think maybe she was born. I don't know. But he hooped. He's a good player. Jimmy Butler had 21, 6, and 4 on 6 for 10 shots, and Bam Adebayo had 20 and 13 in 20 minutes. They beat him 137 to 95.
Smacked.
Dude, just destroyed him.
Smacked the champs.
And that's what the NBA has just not disappointed so far.
And the champs look good, and because they played opening
night. The Bucks look good.
Giannis looked good. They looked really good against Brooklyn. And Giannis looks like that weight is off his shoulders, and I think that's going to free up his confidence to shoot the
ball.
Jump shot.
And I think also like Miami has always been their sort of kryptonite. Like I know they got past them in the playoffs last year, but Miami had some injuries, or there was sort of a down year from the NBA
Sure.
Finals. But Miami always seemed to sneak him, but they didn't sneak him this time. They shut the door right in their face, 42. Like they just whooped him, whooped him. So that's exciting, man. I'm happy to watch the NBA more and go more into it and stuff.
I feel like it's crazy to see like this early to see guys in a rhythm that quick. Like we saw like Russ had a tough night, his first night in LA, but it's like poor performance, but you're like it's first game. You know, guys haven't played in a while. They're trying to get used to a new situation, stuff like that. And then you got guys like Ja who had like, what do you have, 37?
Oh yeah, he had 37.
Dominated his first game. I mean, you got guys that are going for 40 plus, 30 plus
right away.
First night out, just right off
AD,
the jump.
AD and LeBron both had 30 the other night.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I mean, the NBA's in good hands right now. I think Luka and Trey didn't do. I think they probably both had double doubles, but they didn't have like 30-point games. Which both of those guys are the guys that are like perennial 30-point scorers. Like you see them it's day in night out. It's like that's their stuff. But that's just the way the NBA is sometimes. It's gonna be a really exciting year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed everyone stays healthy and it's a solid year in that remark. But
hey, my sleeper team's undefeated. You got to shout me
Which
out.
one was
Memphis.
Memphis?
Memphis
Yeah,
Grizzlies, baby.
but who'd they play?
1-0. I think they played. What did they play? Not the Pelicans. They played.
It's because Ja had that block. I'm gonna find it. But yeah, that's 1-0. That's good. That's good. Congrats, bro. 1-0. Your sleeper team. Good job.
They might have played Cleveland.
Yeah, so that's your worst team.
Somebody.
Yeah, they played Cleveland.
Yeah,
so the worst team that we had written down.
So both my picks are.
So both your picks were good. Good.
Because they played each other.
But the Bulls, you said they'd be a flop team, and they're 1-0.
We'll see.
So you're a little down on that one.
We'll see. It's a long year.
and your MVP didn't go off last night, Luka. You said Luka would be.
I didn't even check.
You said
the
Luka
stats.
would be MVP, and he went sort of downhill.
MVP.
I said AD. AD had a good night, so I'll live with that.
AD's not gonna be MVP. LeBron's on that team.
Luka Doncic had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. Six
shots did he take?
6 for 17. 2 for 7 from 3.
All right. Let's get his rhythm
He had
back.
11 defensive rebounds, 5 turnovers. And then Trae Young had...
It's my guy, Trey.
19, 2 rebounds, 14 assists. So that's a good night. But still, it's like they both didn't do
scoring-wise,
big time stuff like you would expect them to do.
Yeah.
So during the week, we put out a Q&A poll on Instagram. So thank you for the couple of people that did do it.
Appreciate y'all.
In the future, if you see it on the story, please just comment questions. Any questions are great for us. One we left out, and that's Coach P, and we're not going to because he starts to touch the wrong. He wanted to get under our skin, get something done. So that's the one question we did leave out. But we got 4 pretty good questions from Instagram. So like I said, if you see the polls on Instagram again, we'd love to answer your questions. So we're going to talk about some questions we got on Instagram, and then some comments off YouTube. So first I got and this is a good one for you and I. My boy Bailey was saying that I miss him and whatever. So miss you, Bailey, back home in Australia. Hope you and the family are good. He said, how much do I miss him? Obviously a lot. And then he said, what's been the hardest part about being away for 6 years? So for me, I haven't been home for a birthday in 6 years. I haven't been home for Christmas in 6 years.
Yeah, you've been doing it.
I've been away for a while. I can't. There's a lot of stuff you miss. Families, B-days, all that. So that's 4 years of college, Macedonia, and then now. It's tough. The biggest thing I miss is being just with family and being with friends. Obviously, Sydney. I miss Sydney. I like it as a city. Very expensive to be there, and it's a great city, but there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of people. Yeah. So I always say to people, I don't necessarily miss Sydney as a whole. I miss the people and my family and that type of experience. So that's probably the hardest part about being away. Missing my birthday was just last week. Missing birthdays at home and being with family and having been on the phone with them during those days, or Christmas when it comes up and it's snowing and it's cold over here and then everyone's in shorts and drinking beer in Australia. Those are always the hardest parts. But for you, you're sort of new to being away from home. Not completely new, but how many years has it been that you've sort of been
This will be my 4th.
Your 4th year.
But this will be really this past 2 years. I think I've been home 2 months out of the past 2 years. Yeah. 2 or 3 months. For me, similar. I'm actually, the hardest thing for me is like when something, life happens back home, you know, where you feel like your family needs you, or you feel like you need to be there for someone else,
Yeah.
and you can't be there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when it hits the hardest,
Yeah.
a family member or a close friend passes away, obviously, or weddings, like I had to miss my best friend's wedding,
Yeah.
which that's stung. Like that's tough because those are things in life that you can't get back, and it's part of the sacrifice that we have to make, in our career path and our career choice. Obviously, like birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that are difficult, but me and my granddad, we talk almost every day on the phone, and he always says, "Thank God for FaceTime."
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm able to stay connected with my family back home, and they do a good job of keeping in touch with me, and that's the biggest thing for me is being able to communicate and having an open line of communication with people.
Yeah, and I know back in the day when I had cousins that did like traveling abroad, and like studying abroad for a couple of months, and it was like you had to Skype them, like, and it felt like a hassle. Like everyone had to get their laptop out and go on Skype. So like, for technology it's advanced so much, it does help, and like you said, it puts into perspective, like, for us, that like why we're doing it, like having that fear. We spoke about it the other day. There was a loss in our team, and it was just like that's one of the biggest fears for us, like being over here, is that something like that could happen to us at any moment. And that sort of drives you to be better, and it also gives you a perspective as like what you're giving up to do this type of stuff. So you can't come into the gym and complain or all of that. You got to come in and work hard every day because you're doing it and you're missing out on all these opportunities. So it's like, that's just the biggest thing, I think, about being away from home, honestly.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we don't touch on, or we haven't touched on a bunch here yet, is like the mental health aspect of like being away, and finding the balance of like, okay, for example, like you want to talk to your people back home, but there's an extent to where like, you're gonna feel bad if every day you're on the phone for 7, 8, 9 hours staring at the screen, where it's like, well, you're not like present here. Like you still have to live your life here while trying to be as connected as possible
with
back
everyone
home.
at home.
But it's like everybody has a certain need, or like you might need to talk more to your family or your girlfriend more than I do, or vice versa. It just kind of depends on
it depends on
who
what
you
works
are.
for you.
But I think like figuring that out as you go is one of those things that I know personally for me, like I'm still trying to figure that out myself, mentally, to try and figure out what's best, what do my days look like here, you know, and then obviously like with the time difference, you're balancing.
I'm balancing two different
time.
It's in Australia. For Australia, they're 8 hours ahead, so it's midday here, so it's 8 p.m. in Australia, and then it's 7 hours back to the States, so it's 5 a.m. in Richmond, where Bethany is. So I have to sort of deal with that, but it's fine. I mean, once you get into that rhythm of, I usually talk to my parents around this time of the day, and then I'll talk to Bethany once she's awake or in her afternoon, my nighttime. It's just something that you just have to sort of, balance. So then another comment we got was, as for you, does Jackson know what Belegia means in Bosnian?
Dude, I don't know. I don't.
You
know
don't remember? No. Thank you for the question, but Jackson does not know it.
I gotta get back on my Bosnian.
Yeah, you gotta get back on it. You gotta work it out. Maybe in the next episode
I need to I'll look it up and get back to you guys. I will say, my time in Bosnia, I feel like I picked up so much like slang, and I really enjoyed like the banter and like the sense of humor that like my teammates, but not only my teammates, but like people that I would like see outside of basketball, like whether it was in coffee shops or like restaurants and stuff. Like I met a lot of people that are like just funny,
funny people,
And once I started to like pick up their language a little bit, and I was able to communicate and like go back and forth with people, like some of the funniest like
type of interactions
interactions so and I still get interactions today, like with people over Instagram. So like actually that. One of my teammates hit me up yesterday right before the game and sent me a hilarious reel on Instagram, and we just do that stuff all the time. Like that's fun.
It's sort of those relationships you build while being overseas, and that's the biggest thing. I've got a bunch of people I still talk to in Macedonia, like old teammates or just people that you met along the way. that are always on the Instagram and things like that. Like it's those relationships you build at the end of the day. Yeah, you're going to play basketball and all that, but building relationships in different countries is also amazing. You know, like for someone to comment while we're in Lithuania about like Bosnia is just, it's crazy. You know, it's something that's sort of like, it's normal for us, but for other people it's like, what? You know, you have friends in all these different places.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Mayo came with a question. He said, the best player you've played against or like has given you buckets, basically, like has scored against you, whatever.
For me, oh man, this is tough. So I'm gonna say the most like gifted scorer like I've seen like up front. Like we didn't even really like, we were actually teammates at one point in high school. His name's Jordan Stevens, lefty. You know, he's been around, played college ball. I played with him in high school, played against him in high school. He played overseas in Switzerland for a little bit, but he's just like, he's just a bucket getter, bro. Like he scores from all three levels.
Yeah.
He's got every shot in the book. Like actually, he's one of those guys like back home in the runs. We always talk like the tougher the shot, it seems like he enjoys.
It's
like,
better. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to shoot kind of. He enjoys shooting shots going backwards. He likes step back, side step, stuff like that. But he's got burst. Yeah. And he can get up, and he's just all around just a really great talent in terms of getting buckets. Yeah. I can't like pinpoint a certain player that, whether it was high school, college, or like pro. Yeah. Because there's like
there's so many. Yeah.
There's so many guys. Like I couldn't specifically say one guy, but in terms of like offensive ability and like tough guys to guard, for me, Jordan's up there. Yeah. For those of you back home that are watching this and have been to the runs, you guys know Jordan's a great talent.
Man, I got lucky in college. I can't say lucky because I had to play against him. Ja Morant was in our conference, so we played Ja Morant obviously 4 times, but 2 times in that year that he was, all over Bleacher Report and all over everything in college. Like, so Ja Morant, as in terms of like playing against, like, and watching that, it was like, oh my goodness. And like now, in terms of looking at it, you're like, well, yeah, he was the best player I've played against. But we played Tennessee when they were the #1 team in the nation. So they had Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield. I remember going into that game, and Nick will remember it too, like scouting them and being like, Locke, you're playing the 3-4 and you're going to guard these 2 guys, Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield, like 2 of the most dynamic, big, like wing type players in the nation at the moment. And that was just like, oh my goodness. Having to play those guys was wicked. Over here we played Emmanuel Mudiay the other day. He didn't play crazy or good or nothing, but like that caliber of player, like he was in the league for a couple of years, so like you got to put him down as like, we've played in the same game as this guy. And then obviously the guy that asked the question, Nick, like we never really play against each other, but this summer we worked out a lot, and like that's one of the guys that's like, he's my height, 6'9", he's fat. Sorry, Nick.
Damn, Nick.
He's like 240.
He said he's big, boy.
He's a bigger guy. He plays he can play like a wing. Yeah. He makes just tough shots. Like he's just
a matchup.
Dude, it's just a bucket getter, And we've watched his film, and he's man. It's my boy. It's my best friend, Nick. We're always playing online and talk every day and stuff, but he's just one of those guys that you can play great defense for 5 seconds and he still hits a turnaround jump shot on you, and it's like,
that's such a loaded question because it depends. Like you're 6'9", right? So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm 6'1", and I play point guard. We play different positions, so that answer's gonna be different based on matchups and like type of style of game that you have versus who you match up against. Right. I mean, and then also just like, that's basically just like your opinion of like what you think a really, really good basketball player is.
Exactly.
Is it like a bucket getter? Is it an all-around player? I mean, to me, like at the guard spot, like if you can score at all 3 levels, but then also like you have an IQ and like you can pass and do like all things with both hands and shoot from range, like to me, like you go up there on the list, because it's like you can beat me in multiple facets of the game. It's like shoot it as well, or like force them to drive. It's a little bit different. Yeah. But it's an interesting question. And then I'm sure like we've played. I mean, you got to think about like growing up. Yeah. high school, AAU, college, now professionally, like you've played against so
You've
many
probably crossed
guys,
paths
like,
with so many different people that you could sit there and just talk about them all day.
I can't even remember all the guys. Like
Yeah.
when people ask me a question that people ask me like overseas, whether it's teammates or just like people I interact with, is like name some of the guys you've played against or like seen or played with, and I haven't like it's like hard for me to like I'd have to like sit down and like write a list.
Yeah, like I mean, I even forgot like Dylan Windler. We played him. He played for Belmont. Like he was my height, my position, and he's just a bucket. Like he got drafted. Like that's just another guy. Like he just slipped my mind, but it's like he was probably one of the toughest guys I've had to guard.
Yeah.
Like at my position, you know. And one of the funny things is about Jar. Going back to him, there's a clip, and I'll put it here. Yeah. So we pressed Jar. We pressed my last year. We pressed for 40 minutes every single game, and that was including Ja Morant. We turned him over 10 times that game.
Really?
Yeah, but there's a clip from Frankie Vision, and we press him, and he goes one way, and then he crosses back the other way, and he doesn't like shake us, but he like gets free and goes. You know, we're full court pressing him, and as he crosses this way, he points. Like this, points at me. And it's just like, I was like, oh my goodness.
What?
Like we still ran him down. I'm pretty sure he turned it over. But like in the clip, he goes this way and then snaps back and he just like points like as if he dropped us. Like, and it's instant. Like while getting pressed. And it's like, oh my goodness.
That's
like
crazy.
That was just that whole nother level of player. And it'll be here and you guys can watch it. I'll replay it 100 times.
He's so elusive. Like,
oh
I mean,
my
he's
goodness,
just,
dude. Like he's a little dude. Like, and he's little. Like he was...
But he plays strong.
He's
man.
skinnier than I am, shorter than I am, just explosive athlete, quick with the hands, quick with the movement. Like he's just a special type of player. And then like the last question we've got from Instagram is from Istis, our boy that was here on Media Day.
Shout out to him.
He said, how do we come up with the idea of running the podcast, and we need to get Khalil on here? So we can start with the Khalil thing. Yeah. We're thinking of getting some guests on over the next few episodes. Mm-hmm. Either the next episode after that. Kay will definitely be in it. So there's that question answered for you.
Our guy Kay.
But in terms of the podcast, we went up to Conus one day and got a haircut, and we're talking about making content for Jackson. Running over some of his music, some of the type of content creation we could make. And I wanted to sort of up my content creation while I was here in Lithuania, and a podcast just seemed like the right thing to do, and that's just where it came from. Jackson was down for it. We both have the same sort of ideas. We talk all day, so it was, I think it was a no-brainer for us to do a podcast.
It wasn't like some elaborate...
No, it wasn't like...
It was literally like he texted me, and we had that conversation, and that night he texted me, he's like, bro, we should start a podcast. And I was like, bet, all right, let's do it. Yeah. So we started, writing ideas down, and we'll be shooting or working out in the gym, and like, what I love about LA is he'll stop for a second and be like, hey, we're going to do this as a segment. And I'll be like, all right, let's do it. Like, we'll do it. And vice versa, it's the same, whether, we're here working or we're just kicking it at home.
Yeah,
but,
my brain
awesome.
just goes a million miles an hour, and then when we're sort of passionate about stuff, we're thinking like, where are we going to do this next one? Obviously, we've worked out we're here and doing it now, but we're talking about doing it on the court. We're talking about doing it in the stands. We're talking about doing it up high in the gym. So it was just like, it's just fun being able to create content that people are liking or enjoying, or even something that we can look back on and watch it and have fun with it. And that's where we're sort of just trying to keep growing this podcast, bringing more people in to be a part of it, and getting the ball rolling in that remark, I think. But yeah, I mean, like I said, with Instagram, if you see us posting like little questions, Q&A type stuff, please just don't be scared to questions. There's no stupid questions. We're used to it all. There are stupid questions, but for in terms of stuff that we would answer, like if you write something and it's just out of the blue or like out of left field, we're probably not going to answer it. But I mean, if you're just coming in with like, how's life in Lithuania, how's life in Bosnia, how's life in Macedonia, like, or what's it like being a basketball player, what size shoe do you wear, like stuff like that, we'd love to answer. Like, it's stuff you get to learn more about us as we go on. And then like one thing I wanted to touch on as well is like we don't comment back on YouTube. We like YouTube comments. We do all of that, but like YouTube comments are a big part of our videos. There've been a lot of people that have been commenting and like giving us feedback, and we appreciate, you know, like comments about the audio or comments about different things. And then so in the first episode, we'll put the comment here. They said we'd like it better if you guys are in the same shot. So here you go. We're in the same shot. So there's that. Someone said that they're looking forward to more Lithuanian content. I think what we're going to do more as well is implement talking more about Jonava or where we're at, or Konus, or you know, maybe throwing some vlog type of footage when we go to these different cities, rather than just all podcasts. Maybe just do a couple of vlogs. So more Lithuanian content's going to come as well. Because we've been thinking about it.
We obviously, as we start to play more games too, we can talk more about the league.
Yeah.
The league is really good, man. It's tough, physical league, and it seems like when we get the chance to sit down and watch games, like the games are just always really competitive. And then just like from what my family and friends that tune in say back home, they really enjoy the quality of basketball here, and obviously the fans are really into it. And, just being around good basketball is always a great thing.
And that's like another comment was saying, you know, thankfully we've been winning a lot of games. I think we're 6-3 now over both competitions.
Over both Cup and
LKL. And 4-1 in LKL.
Yeah.
So maybe 3-1 LKL.
3-1 LKL.
2-2 in the Cup. Yeah. So one of the other comments was saying that, like, you know, Jonava is the new hype in the LKL and exciting, and that's awesome for us. You know, to be a part of something like that. The fans are awesome. Everyone's excited to watch our games. We're playing a good style of basketball. We're running. We're scoring. We're having fun with it. So it's good. It's been a lot of fun. And then they were saying that, you know, the crowds are good now, but when the playoff time comes, it's going to be a whole different ball game. You know, we're playing games on Monday nights, Thursday nights, but when the playoffs come and it's on Saturday night, and you know, you have to go to different arenas and different type of environments. That's something I'm really, really excited for. I can't wait. And then they said, like, and so it's a question within the comment, and he said, like, what's the experience like playing in Lithuania in general? And like you said, like, it's tough. You know, these guys are strong. They're pushing. They're pressing full court sometimes. For me as a big, my struggles are obviously, you know, or not a big, but a 3-4. My struggles are these guys are physical. You know, they're hitting you off the ball. They're face guarding when you've hit some shots through the games. You know, they're doing really good scouting. It's just a really good overall league. And like for you as a guard, like, I mean, you can talk about it, obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's very similar. Like off the ball, you can't just cut wherever you want to cut, or you can't. You know, when you're setting up, coming out, running off of screens and stuff, you have to make sure you're initiating contact first, and then the scouting is really good here. The coaching is really well done. I know that we spend a lot of time in preparation, preparing for individual players and schemes and stuff like that, talking about what defensive coverages and stuff we want to do. So it's really cool as a point guard to see each game, you know, all right, what kind of coverage is this team playing? What are they doing? And then how are we counteracting or counterattacking with what they're preparing for us? I think for me, getting used to seeing like the game at the correct speed and seeing where guys are moving and where a lot of the passes are coming and just getting used to the feel of where guys are moving and defensively, the physicality. It's very physical here, and learning what calls you're going to get and what you're not going to get. So for me, that's
I think it's all about just adapting to the game. You know, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different country. It's a whole different type of play. You know, and that's we've been here a month and a half, almost 2, but you know, there's still a lot of adjusting that needs to happen, which is good. It's a challenge to, you know, build up and through. You know, and then the last sort of YouTube comment we want to thing on, it's more of like a discussion for us. It's like, the comment says that EuroLeague is the toughest league. It's a coach's league. Every game's important because of the point difference. But NBA is obviously the more talented league. And then they said that just after Tokyo, Bam Adebayo came out saying that, you know, it's harder to score in FIBA than it is in the NBA. And that's obviously something that Luka Doncic has said, and a lot of Europeans that have made it to the NBA have said. But
I feel like people don't disagree with that.
No one disagrees with that, but to have an NBA player in America come out and say that changes everything.
Big, yeah.
You know,
the floor is just is smaller. The space to score is shrunk when you got guys who can, you can help. You can be in help side, and then just the way that the game is called. The one thing I get sick of people saying back home is like they don't watch NBA because like they don't play defense, and I think like that's the biggest misconception. Like, I think this year we'll start to see people are going to be like, oh, they're playing defense this year. Well, a big part of that is because of the rule change.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to allow people to ball fake and then jump into people. Yeah. Like, you're not going to see fouls on jump shots as much.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Steph and Harden and Trae Young and those, Dame, those guys who get a lot of free throws from beyond distance shooting. Where, they're shooting, kicking legs out and stuff. They're not going to call that.
But, also the thing is, it's like the skill and the ability of these players is unbelievable.
Exactly.
You could take the best defender anywhere that that's not in the NBA, right? Like, your boy who has clamps, he would get cooked by anyone in the league.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's not that they're not playing defense.
Skill levels.
You have to score at the same clip that these guys are scoring. And then, it's not as easy just to, sit down and defend Steph Curry for 45 minutes.
No, guys are still losing. I mean, if there's somebody that can guard Steph, there's a lot of jobs out there looking for you.
Literally, dude.
Like better offense beats defense every time.
100%. And that's just the thing about it. And
these guys can make shots. I mean, shots that these guys are taking that, at the college level, even overseas, would be considered bad shots for these guys aren't bad shots.
No, they're not. It's not. And
because of their skill level.
It's just a whole different ballgame, bro. But yeah, for that portion, that's that's our YouTube comments. That's our Instagram questions. Keep commenting on our stuff. Keep liking our posts. Everything like that. It helps and it gives us different ideas. Like I said, in the same shot. Last episode, someone said that that our quality of audio dropped, so we're going to try and work on that, but better. It's all just a feeling out game at the moment. So please leave comments on recommendations on things that you disagree or agree with us on. We love these discussions in the comments and all that. It's awesome, and all the love and support has been just awesome. It's been great. But I think in terms of episode 3, I think that's probably about as much as we can sort of fit in, and we just want to sit and talk, and we talk all day anyway, so to have it on a camera and have people enjoy it.
Doesn't shut up, man.
I don't shut up, which is great. It's great that I can now have a camera to talk to, and it's an excuse. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching all the time. If you've made it this far in episode 3, thank you very much. Like I said, remember to like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do. It doesn't give you a follower to unfollow ratio on YouTube. Doesn't matter on that. Like our posts on Instagram, share them to your friends. Have people, the people that are going to like basketball or whatever, share them to them. Say, hey, look at these guys from Yonova. But yeah, we're trying to sort of take this podcast bigger and better. Like you said, we've set up here with the lights, the cameras, the action, and just here at Yonova. So, you got anything else to say to the people?
Man, appreciate you guys tuning in. Everybody have a safe week back home, and we'll see you guys next time for sure.
We'll see you guys next episode. Peace out.
Peace.